Hi everyone, happy Friday. We made it through another week. I'm kind of hopeful that my internet will stay up. It's been a little spotty. I don't know what's going on with Comcast. I just recently got a couple of books from the Dragon Tree Apothecary. Oh goodness, excuse me, I'm so sorry. And one of the reasons I bought them was because I wanted to make sure that I was focusing my life on what I thought was important. Not what someone else thought was important for me, but what I personally think is important for me. And there's nothing more important than that, to kind of keep going with the idea of importance. So this one, it looks like it's all white. It's kind of hard to see. It actually says Rituals for Living. And I'm really excited to get it. I started working on a PDF version just before I ordered the book, and then I decided that, yes, I did want the actual physical book to handle. It's beautiful. To go with that, I have another book also from the Dragon Tree. That's kind of hard to say. A Dragon Tree Apothecary. Say that 5 times fast. That talks about rituals for transformation. So they're obviously very much about ritual. If you can kind of tell from the background here, I kind of struggle with that. As part of the rituals for transformation, I'm supposed to create a sacred space. And that's kind of the only space in my home that's really truly mine where I know that I don't get interrupted is my bedroom. So, and it just happens that I do keep my bedroom very, very neat. So I went in and I set up a little space on my end table, cleared all the junk, not that there was all that much. But as I was doing that, I thought about, one, making the important things the important things. We so often get bogged down on things that are not even important. I talked before about the matrix. Things that are urgent but not important, things that are important but not urgent, things that are both urgent and important, and things that are neither urgent nor important. So we actually want to focus our time on the things that are important, whether or not they're urgent. And if we work on the things that are important before they become urgent, then they won't become urgent. Does that make sense? I'm going to take just half a second here and put this up on my personal page. Seems to help. And I'm starting to wonder if I should just completely rename my page and my YouTube channel, because I very seldom actually talk about bookkeeping. Although that is my business. But behind the business of business is the idea that we need to do the things that we need to do to make sure that we're doing what we really want. One of my very dear friends is a very talented musician, extremely talented. He's star quality. And he has just gone to Nashville to try to start recording, which I'm so thrilled for him, because that is his love, that is his passion, that is everything to him. I mean, if you want to punish him, take away the piano and the guitar, and then he probably would still find a Jew's harp or blow on a piece of grass to try to make music. That's such a part of who he is. Now, I don't consider myself particularly artistic right now, at least not in this season of my life. And it's not that I don't have, did I put this on the right spot? It's not that I don't have artistic value. No, I didn't. I'm going to redo this. Sorry, y'all. I'm going to start this over because I forgot to put it on my page. And I want it both on my page and on my personal profile. So give me just... Okay, happy Friday, round 2, take 2. So I really wanted, oh, Daniel was commenting and liking, loving my video. So I really, like I said, we're going to try this again, and I'm going to share it to my personal page, and I'm still going to Um, have it on my business profile. Like I said, I sometimes wonder if I should rename the whole thing because I very seldom actually talk about bookkeeping. But at the same time, I feel like these other aspects that I'm talking about are vitally important. So Daniel, if you're still watching, come back. He's the one that has the star quality. He is the one that is just an incredible musician. There's been times when I maybe didn't like this style, but you know, I'm a bit more of a classical type of a person. But the technique and the quality of his voice, and you know, he's just so talented. And sometimes he does kind of goofy songs, and sometimes he does just absolutely amazing work. All of his work is amazing, even if it's kind of goofy, like his coconut oil song. So, yeah, so that kind of got me thinking about, he called me and he was telling me he had had such a terrible time. And Daniel, I hope you don't mind me talking about this. This is not my brother. It's another Daniel that I know. His house had burned down, and his girlfriend had broken up with him. And, you know, it's just kind of this huge, not just little hints that the universe is telling him you need to leave. He was being whacked upside the head with a cosmic 2x4 to the point that his house burned down. And of course it caused him a lot of, you know, not just the financial drain and the fear, it, you know, re-triggered some PTSD. I mean, but you would kind of expect that, right? And I was talking to him, and he said, you know, I just feel like I'm supposed to go to Nashville. And my response was something along the lines of, well, then go. You know, go. You know, don't have a home. You don't have any material possessions left. Here is your sign. Now, most of the times, he's so talented, I really think that he was literally being told and guided to go to Nashville. There were a lot of other things that lined up for him. And I don't know, not having discussed this with him before recording this, I don't quite know how much I should say, because I don't want to embarrass him. I don't want to break confidence. But there was a lot of things that just lined up. And that kind of got me thinking about keeping the main thing, about remembering to work on what's truly important instead of what we get busy doing stuff. And a lot of that stuff needs to be done. I mean, I have to earn a living. There's nobody else to earn a living in this household but me. I have to shuttle my kids around. I have to take care of the kids and make sure that they're growing up to be responsible, productive, intelligent, well-rounded members of society. Well-rounded people, so they're just interesting. I mean, if you've ever talked to someone who doesn't have a very good education, they're not interesting. They're kind of boring because they have a very limited amount of subject matter that they can talk about. And then if you try to go in and you want to discuss the qualities of the poem Beowulf, they just kind of, their eyes glaze over and they have no idea what you're talking about. But if you have someone that's intelligent and well-rounded, they may not have read the poet Beowulf, but they at least know that there is such a thing. And they may then say, you know, I would love to talk about that with you, but I don't know enough about it but I'll go read it. You know, I'll go find something about it. If that makes sense. So, you know, that's kind of one of my goals. And I'm right in the middle of a huge change in my life. It's that time of life. I turned 50 this year, and hopefully nobody can tell by looking at me. But hitting that particular number should not bother me. I know it shouldn't bother me. But it also, knowing the lifespan of at least the women on my mother's side of the family, it really hit me that I'm at the halfway point. I don't have, you know, I'm at the halfway point, you know. So it really got me thinking about, I don't have time to waste anymore. My kids are grown. My baby is 14 years old. He's taller than me. He's stronger than me. And, you know, I hurt my knee one day and he picked me up and carried me to bed. I mean, that's my baby, you know. He's a Life Scout. He's working on his Eagle, went to the Boy Scout National Jamboree. He knows that he can take care of himself, and he takes care of his mom. So, you know, I'm kind of looking at this going, my kids are grown. Even my 14 and 16-year-olds, they're really grown. They really don't need me to hover over them anymore. Not that I ever did. So I'm kind of looking at this and going, now what? I still have a lot of good years ahead of me. A lot of people say this is, you know, the best time of their lives. And I want this to be the best. I mean, I want to feel like, okay, I took care of the first half of my life. That, you know, my kids are taken care of. I'm no longer needed. That is one life purpose that has been fulfilled. Now I need to find out what else I'm supposed to be doing. So that's what I've been really working on, and I've been really thinking deeply about it. I just love, I love work. I love my work. And one of the things that I really thought about was, I don't really talk about this very much, and I probably will never bring this up again. I do suffer from depression. I do suffer from anxiety to the point that the phone ringing kind of makes me jump every time. Even if it's someone that I want, I mean, it doesn't matter if it's someone I want to talk to or not, but it'll make me jump. I'm kind of high strung. And it's funny because most people would describe me as being fairly laid back, and then that's the image I try to project. My kids will tell you that I'm very laid back until I get angry, and then I'm like Bruce Banner. In fact, they've called me the She-Hulk. Very laid back until I get angry, and then I, you know, grow and turn green. So one of the things that I use work for, though, is not to accomplish great things. It is to not think about the important things. And it's common. A lot of workaholics are that way. I like to be busy, but it's not really because I have a lot to do. It's so that I can tell myself, oh, I'm too busy to discover my life purpose. Oh, I'm too busy to do the things that are important to me. Oh, I'm just too busy to take care of some things. So in the first little bit of this video that went up on my profile page instead of on my business page, I talked about creating a sacred space. And as I'm working through the rituals of transformation, today's the first day. It goes on for 108 days. So I've only got 107 left to go. I was creating this sacred space, and I cleaned off the top of my dresser and dusted it, and I cleaned off one of my end tables that I just tend to throw things on and, you know, didn't really think anything of. I cleaned it off and I washed it, and I think I'm going to sand it and paint it, but that's, you know, coming later. And I moved my my lamp, and I put some candles on there, and I put a little bitty sage smudge stick there to remind me to be pure in my thoughts. And I put some good books on there. One that I'm reading is called, it's by Marianne Williamson, who's one of my very favorite authors, and she talks about the law of divine compensation. And I have some religious books on there. I have The Way of the Tao. I have another spiritual book on there, and then I have my scriptures on there. And yeah, I just felt such a difference in my room, and I was kind of thinking about how overwhelmed I get a lot of the time when there's nothing to be overwhelmed about. I am one of those people that'll stress about stress before there's even stress to stress about, and it's really stressful. And it's something that I'm really working on in my life. When I went to go buy the candles, I wanted specific ones, and I didn't really want to drive all the way into Salt Lake to get it, especially not at rush hour. I may go over the weekend. The traffic is not as bad. But I did buy candles that felt good, and and I thought about it. So I'm setting up this space and I'm wiping everything down and I'm just cleaning up just on the surface. I didn't clean out my closet, I didn't clean out my drawers, but I thought about how much better the room felt. And then I was just kind of thinking about making the important things the important things. Again, sometimes I use work as a crutch to avoid doing any real work on me. And right now, my kids are vitally important to me, but there's no one more important to me in my life but me. I am the most important person in my life. And I think that's as it should be. And so, not to be narcissistic and not to be self-centered, but I need to do a lot of work about myself. And I feel like this is the season to do that. I start back to college on October 1st. In the meantime, I'm doing all of these rituals and transformations and training and learning how to really delve deep. So how do you know? How do you know what's important? That's what the whole topic of the video is, right? You start off by thinking about all the things that are important to you. What are you good at? And I struggled with that because a lot of times when people are saying, oh, I'm good at something, it's something that's obvious that other people can see. Well, I can sing, but I'm not that good. And I haven't really sung in a while. I used to joke, one of my married names was LaVoice, and I used to joke that yes, my name is LaVoice, and yes, I can sing. But I kind of went off the rails with singing. I don't really sing a lot anymore, and I certainly don't sing for anyone else. So no, I won't be singing in any of these videos. What are your gifts? What are the things that you're great at? And I thought, well, I don't sew. My mother sews, my sisters sew. And I sew merit badges on scout shirts. That's about all the sewing I do. I don't paint. I don't do counted cross stitch anymore. My eyesight won't let me do that anyway, and I don't have the patience. I don't knit, I don't crochet, I don't draw, I don't... what I came out with was, as an accountant and as a bookkeeper slash office manager slash business coach, I bring order out of chaos. I take all of the paperwork. See, I knew I was going to bring it back to bookkeeping. I take all of the paperwork and the QuickBooks files and the headaches and the worries and the fears and the taxes and everything. I take it and I make it orderly. And sometimes it takes a while. But I create order out of what appears to be chaos. The funny thing is, the people that are the ones saying, oh, my books are such a mess, they're so terrible, I don't know how you're going to do this, their books really aren't that bad. So that's kind of my biggest gift, is to be able to bring order out of chaos. It's also to be able to punch through or to see through all the complications and find the simple solution. Again, sometimes it takes a while. Another one of my gifts is to be able to see people as they really are, not as a list of qualities. I have yet to meet a list of qualities. When I very first moved to Utah, I remember doing this exercise of, write down what you want in a boyfriend, and I did. I even threw things in there that I was sure nobody would ever do. Like, he had to be from Latin America, but he had to speak German. And Spanish had to be his first language. And he had to be 6 feet tall or taller, and he had to make this much money, and he had to have a degree in computer science. I was so precise, okay? I met him. His name is Glenn. And he's 6 foot tall, and he's from El Salvador, and he, of course, Spanish is his first language, and he talked to me about how challenging it was to move to the United States when he thought he spoke English and then discovered that, no, he didn't. He does speak German. He has a master's degree in computer science at Brigham Young University, and my experience of him, I don't know if this is still the case. I am not trying to be mean to him. My experience of him is that he's a jerk. So I forgot to put that part in there. I wanted him not to be a jerk. I wanted him to, you know. So now I don't do that anymore because I feel like in the movie Bedazzled, where the Satan keeps giving him everything that he asks for, but then there's always a twist. You know, I want to be rich and I want to be married to this girl that I really love, and so she makes him rich and important and married to this girl, except that he's rich because he's a Colombian drug lord, and this girl, although he's married to her, she hates him and she's having an affair. And so I'm like, I don't want to mess with that. But I do have the gift of being able to see people as they really are. And sometimes, most of the time, it's a really wonderful gift. I once told my best friend, also named Donna, that if she could see herself through my eyes, she would be floored at what I saw. Because I do see her as, and to this day, I see her as being talented and beautiful and put together and intelligent and strong and artistic and kind and loving. She does a lot of dog rescue. And I don't think she sees herself that way. So that's definitely one of my gifts, is to be able to see people as they really are. So sometimes it's a curse. I have met people that I saw them as they really are, and it took a long time for other people to see that. And I think it's a gift that I get from my mom, because she did the same thing. She can do the same thing. She can just tell if someone is not all that they're cracked up to be. And I seem to have the same gift. So like I said, sometimes it's a curse. It's a curse when you're trying to tell a dear friend that this person isn't what you think. And then you have to sit back and wait for everyone else to see this person the way they really are. So sometimes it's a curse. Another one of my, you just kind of go through your gifts, and I didn't want this to be a brag fest, but kind of go through your gifts, and then you go through and think about the values that are important to you. Some of the ones that are important to me are integrity and trustworthiness and kindness, and to my friends, I'm generous to a fault. I like to be strong. I like to be able to handle adversity well. I want to kind of go back through here and see if I can actually see the list. That might be nice. Sorry, guys. Other values. Individuality is hugely important to me. I kind of joke that as an Aquarius, I really do kind of fall into the mold of that we're individualists. Generosity, respectfulness, truthfulness, persistence. And then I kind of joked and said, you know, there's 12 others, you know, trustworthy, loyal, friendly, kind, clean, reverent. You know, kind of, my son, the Life Scout, speaks up and goes, "Yes, Mom." Yes, the Scout laws, important list of qualities or values. Preparedness, being prepared mentally and emotionally and physically, is an important value to me. Physical strength is an important value to me. And they've got a big long list in here of different values, and those kind of, if some of them are not important to you, that's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. But as you go through, you know, love is a really important value to me. I tend to be compassionate, but I wouldn't say it's something that I sit around and, you know, expect it to be a value. I think it kind of grows out to love. Integrity is huge. Integrity is huge for me. Since I'm an accountant, that's probably a good thing. Other people would have other values, and that's fine. We're all different and individual human beings. So of course we're going to have different values. Different things are going to be important to us. A lot of the things that are important to some of my friends are not at all important to me. I just don't get why it's important to them. But the fact is, it is. I have friends that Oh, I lost that train of thought. Sorry. Hate it when that happens too. So then you take your gifts and you take your values and you take the things that make life fun, and you take adventurousness is a huge one for me. You take the things that you are important, that you know are important to you, and you come up with a life purpose. Well, my life purpose actually comes from the scriptures, in that I believe that we are meant to have joy in living. And so that's what I put in. I'm meant to bring order out of chaos. By definition, that makes me a goddess. And then I am meant to have joy in living. Now, joy means different things to different people, once again. To me, it's a lot of adventurousness. It's a lot of some of the things that I want to do. Ride the zip lines, any zip line. I want to, well, I have flown an airplane. Don't really want to go to the poles. I am not a big fan of the cold. I do want to go to Hawaii, and I want to do some more scuba diving, and I want to, I just want to get out and have adventures. I'm going to take my kids to Yellowstone, and it's kind of past the season now. We don't want to go this weekend because of the eclipse, because it's going to be crazy up there. So once you know what your life purpose is, then you can kind of set goals. And once you've set these goals, you can decide, how long they want you to take. 1 year, 3 years, 5 years, 10 years, the rest of your life. One of my lifetime goals would be to learn. And learning is important to me. I don't think I will ever be able to learn everything I want to know. It's just important to me. That's why I went to college. It wasn't because I felt like I needed to have a degree to pursue anything. That's why I'm going back to college. It's because I think it's important to learn, and I really don't know what I don't know. I know some of what I don't know, but I do know that there's a lot out there that I don't know that I want to know. So knowledge is important to me, and wisdom. And so I can now go through and start creating goals that resonate with my purpose. And this isn't something that I feel like I can sit down in an hour and do. It's something that I feel like I will do the rest of my life. I hope. I might get off track. One of my failings is a failure to I'll keep agreements with anyone else. I just have a terrible time keeping agreements with myself. So that kind of lets you weed through what's important, or what's not important. And so now I can go through and I can say, well, obviously my kids are important to me. But it's important to me as a parent, it's important to me that my kids know how to handle themselves without me. So it then became important for me to send my kids on trips to scrimp and save and do without myself, so that I could send my kids on trips so that they could experience managing without mom there in a safer environment. My daughter went on a trip with the school choir this spring, and then my son went for 15 days to the East Coast for a pre-Jamboree tour, and then for the Boy Scout National Jamboree. And in both cases, they learned leadership skills. They learned that they can be where they need to be when they need to be there. That I don't really, and I learned I don't have to worry about them. So I feel like, that's why I feel like that part of my purpose has now been fulfilled. I strongly suggest, most people don't actually write down what their life goals are. And most people that do write down their life goals, they do it once, it's like they set it and forget it. I think this needs to be at least an annual thing. And I also believe that it should never be a set it and forget it thing. You could have certain goals 1 year and completely change them the next. This time last year, my goals were very, very different than they are right now. And I'm hoping that things shift again. Things just change. Life happens. People get married. People get divorced. People live. People are born. People die. And all of these things can change what your life map is going to look like. My first one that I did, I fully believed that I was going to be with my first husband forever. And that's what I wanted. I was head over heels for the man. And now looking back, I can, then he made some choices that made it impossible for me to stay with him and stay true to myself. And I knew that. And so I left, and I had to kind of revamp my life plan. And it's just that these things happen. Life happens. Sometimes your life plans don't match up with other people's life plans. There's times when other people's life plans don't include you, and then they find out that, yeah, they kind of do. Or maybe you then decide that I'm going to choose out of this relationship instead of choosing in because this person doesn't meet the values that I have. I'm such a lover of learning, and I'm so into integrity that I have a hard time wanting to keep people in my life that don't also love learning and have high integrity. In fact, the only people that I've actually removed from my life have been ones that have been low in integrity. One gal thought it would be brilliant to call my dearest friend and tell him what a horrible person I was and how she thought that my relationship with him was not to my highest good. And my response was, nobody gets to make that decision but me. Nobody. I felt like that was a violation of confidence. It was a violation of my trust. In fact, anytime someone tells tales behind my back like that, I kind of understand if they're not aware of certain relationships, but because I do vent, and I can understand venting. But this one girl, and then there was another one that I haven't decided what to do with that one. This one girl actually knowingly set out to sabotage this relationship. And, my response was, nobody does that. Nobody chooses my relationships but me. And so, you claim to be my best friend, but you're not. You just proved yourself to be quite the opposite of a friend. In my book, you don't tell. So I immediately, she called me within an hour of me finding out that she had done this, and that was my first response, was just get out of my life. Because she violated an important value of mine, that's integrity and trustworthiness. And I did not want to, and on top of that, she wasn't a big lover of learning, and that's so important to me. And so I just, I can't have her in my life because I don't do backstabbing. That's important to me. And I'm kind of shocked that there's so much that goes on in Utah that doesn't go on anywhere else, is this backstabbing thing. Even working at Western Baptist, and it was pretty a backstabby environment. It wasn't anything like trying to make friends here. I don't know what's different about the culture. But yeah, that's what I'm looking for, is friends with integrity, and friends that are trustworthy, and friends that keep confidences and don't go and tell tales. And maybe I'm opening up way too much because I'm really working on a lot of things. So bringing it back to business, that also will help you decide who you want to do business with. I have a young man that I actually need to respond to, just texted me. He's with a major payroll company, and he's done some things that, again, have made me question his integrity. Just enough. I mean, it's not huge things. It's just enough. He's stepping over some boundaries that really concern me. And so I have to actually stop and think about, is this the kind of person that I want obtaining business for me? Or should I just continue with what I was doing and build my business without his help? So there's a certain, you know, I don't like to name names, and I don't like to tell tales, and I try to keep this vague enough that the people involved hopefully wouldn't even recognize themselves. Yeah, he's done some things that are fairly worrisome, so I'm considering whether or not this is someone I want to have involved or attached to my business in any way. Because if he doesn't respect boundaries, then I'm a little concerned. Spending my weekend addressing bees. Isn't this cute? Isn't this wonderful? Is this how your bookkeeping system makes you feel? Get rid of the stress. Call me for a free bookkeeping consultation. I'm hand addressing them all. 5,000 cards. Why am I hand addressing them all? Because I want the one, I didn't want to pay, these are 4 cents a postcard. I didn't want to pay another 5 cents a postcard for the addressing when I can force my 30-year-old daughter to do it for me because she owes me money. So if you're in Utah, especially if you're in Sandy, watch for these in your mailbox. Please do call me for a consultation. My number is right here if you can see it. It may be backwards, it may be flipped. Or you can go to mysimplebookkeeping.com and find out more. I'm hoping to change that website address in the next few months. So I think that's it for tonight, and I really think I've just kind of rambled on, so I'm sorry. But it's tough to talk about the things that are truly important. It's tough. It's just tough to talk about. It's tough to even talk about it to myself, much less share it with the world. So comment below and tell me how you determine what's most important to you. What traits, what values, what purpose, what goals, and how you decide which ones you're going to pursue. Have a wonderful weekend. I will talk to you after the eclipse on Monday.